to be given that job, President of the EC, today. Brings the time to 17 minutes past 8.
Well, we've been talking about David Cameron. Let's turn to Ed Miliband. He's in Edinburgh today. He's saying that Scots should vote no. And the consequence, he says, is that a Labour government, which he expects to be elected next May, would produce a more equal and a fairer society. Well, his party is ahead in the polls across the UK, but Mr Miliband has been very gaffe-prone, shall we say, in the last few weeks. He's been having a difficult time, personally. Tom Greatrex is with us, Labour MP for Rutherglen and Hamilton West. Is Ed Miliband a bonus for the no side of this argument?
I think Ed Miliband, along with very many other people in the Labour Party in Scotland, has a contribution to make to this debate, and I think that what he's saying today will be welcomed as part of that debate and by people in the Labour Party and people outside the Labour Party. Well,
you say he's got a contribution to make. No argument about that. The question is it one that people are listening to? There was a poll in the Record the other day, and David Clegg, the political editor of the paper, was reminding us of this earlier, which showed that if voters believed that a Conservative victory next year was more likely in the UK general election, they would be driven in considerable numbers to the yes camp. Do you accept that?
Well, I've seen the poll. It doesn't accord with the view that I get from the doorsteps in my constituency, and obviously my constituency in the west of Scotland, just outside Glasgow. But talking to voters in my constituency, they're very keen to hear, as they will hear from Ed Miliband today, what it is that the Labour Party stands for within Scotland, and Scotland as an integral part of the United Kingdom post the referendum if there's a no vote. And I think that's exactly what people do want to hear. And I don't pick up any great sense of people who identify themselves as being Labour voters or Labour supporters in very many elections, suggesting that they're going to vote to leave the United Kingdom.
Well, come on, there is a substantial, I mean, let's not try and put a figure on it because it's impossible, but there's a substantial part of your party which, as it has in the past, believes that a radical alternative to what we get from Westminster in Scotland could come about as a result of a yes vote. I mean, as well as former Labour Party people like, Jim Sillars is an obvious example. There are people, as you well know, inside the Labour Party who are campaigning for yes. The question is, does that number grow or diminish?
Well, I think there are some people within the Labour Party who take a different view from the vast majority of the people in the Scottish Labour Party. But, you shouldn't overplay this in the sense of we had a process, and I think you were at our conference in Perth, where we went through an extensive process in terms of setting out our position in relation to the Constitution. Not once in that debate with representatives from every single constituency party in Scotland did anyone get up and say the Labour Party should be supporting leaving the UK, and nobody voted against that. So, within the structures of the Labour Party, there's very clear support for Scotland remaining part of the UK. But what's important about what Ed's saying today is about what we can achieve and what the drive needs to be within the UK, and that affects people in my constituency in Rutherglen as much as it does people in Rotherham and across the rest of the UK as well. And those issues around low pay, those issues around the unfairness in the energy market, all of those big issues affect people across all of the UK. And what people in Scotland want to see is what the Labour Party will do as a government from 2015 to address those issues for the people of Scotland as much as the people of everywhere else in the UK.
Are you confident that the handlers who manage Mr Miliband's public image, and whether we like it or not, these things do matter, are not going to get him in another problem either with a bacon sandwich or a copy of The Sun or one of the other gaffes that he's produced in the last few weeks? Because from the point of view of people in his party, and there's no denying this because we both know that it's true, they're in despair at some of this stuff.
Well, look, when it comes to making decisions on how people will vote in the referendum and how people will vote at an election, they'll do that on the basis of issues, they'll do that on the basis of policies. And I think actually all the way through the last 4 years, and I supported Ed Miliband for the leadership right from the very start, he has demonstrated an ability to make the right calls and to identify the issues that have concern to people. And there are big issues which he's talking about today in relation to low pay, in relation to job insecurity, in relation to where the balance should be in terms of devolution, not just in Scotland but across all of the UK, that are fundamental. And actually when it comes down to people making a decision, they'll make it on the basis of those issues and those policies.
Well, they'll care about those issues, no argument about that, but they also want somebody who looks like a Prime Minister. And a lot of the polling organisations suggest at the moment that that is not how people see Ed Miliband. What does he do about it?
Well, I think what Ed needs to do, and what he is doing, is getting out to, in Scotland as he is today, not just in Edinburgh, but across Scotland, talking to voters, talking to people within the Labour Party and outside the Labour Party about our agenda, about the policies and about the process and the issues that we identify that need to change within the UK and within Scotland. And that's what he'll be doing, and that's what I think he'll continue to do over the next 11 months in the run-up to the election, and crucially over the next 83 days ahead of the referendum.
Tom Greatrex, MP for Rutherglen, Hamilton West, thanks a lot for joining us.